In the rolling hills of Tuscany, during the early years of the 14th century, a new way of thinking began to emerge, one that would eventually ignite a revolution in art, literature, and philosophy. At the heart of this transformation stood Francesco Petrarca, more commonly known as Petrarch. Born in 1304, Petrarch would come to be regarded as the father of humanism, a title that reflects his pivotal role in shaping the intellectual landscape of the Renaissance. To understand Petrarch's significance, it's essential to place him within the world he inherited. The Middle Ages, also known as the medieval period, had been characterized by a focus on religious life and the authority of the Church. Artistic and literary expression often revolved around spiritual themes, and classical texts from ancient Greece and Rome were largely neglected or viewed through a theological lens. But Petrarch was different. From a young age, he was captivated by the works of antiquity. He believed that the writings of ancient philosophers, poets, and historians contained timeless wisdom, and that by studying them, one could enrich the human spirit. This passion for the past was not mere nostalgia. It was a call to rediscover the full potential of human thought and creativity. Petrarch's most famous literary work is his collection of Italian sonnets, known as the Canzoniere. These poems, addressed to his muse, Laura, are celebrated not only for their lyrical beauty, but also for their deep exploration of personal emotion. In writing about his love for Laura, Petrarch shifted the focus of poetry from the collective to the individual. He delved into the complexity of his own feelings, setting a precedent for later writers who would place human experience at the center of their work. But Petrarch's contributions went far beyond poetry. He was a tireless scholar, traveling across Europe in search of forgotten manuscripts. In dusty monastic libraries and abandoned archives, he uncovered lost works by Cicero, Livy, and other classical authors. By painstakingly copying and circulating these texts, Petrarch helped to reintroduce the intellectual heritage of antiquity to his contemporaries. This revival of classical learning became a cornerstone of the Renaissance, a period whose very name means rebirth. The Renaissance was marked by a renewed interest in the achievements of the ancient world. Artists, architects, and thinkers drew inspiration from Greek and Roman models, seeking to emulate their balance, harmony, and pursuit of excellence. Petrarch, by championing the study of the humanities, grammar, rhetoric, history, poetry, and moral philosophy, laid the groundwork for this cultural awakening. Petrarch's philosophy was grounded in the idea that humans possess dignity and potential. He believed that by cultivating one's mind, pursuing knowledge, and striving for virtue, people could achieve greatness both as individuals and as members of society. This outlook stood in contrast to the more ascetic values of the Middle Ages and heralded a new era in which human life was celebrated for its creativity, curiosity, and capacity for self-improvement. As Petrarch wrote letters to friends and fellow scholars, he encouraged a spirit of inquiry and debate. He urged others to seek wisdom not only in scripture, but also in the secular works of the ancients. This approach helped to spark the formation of intellectual circles and academies across Italy, where scholars would gather to discuss literature, philosophy, and science. The movement that Petrarch inspired, known as humanism, would become the intellectual backbone of the Renaissance. Humanism emphasized the importance of education, eloquence, and critical thinking. It fostered a belief in the value of well-rounded individuals who could participate actively in civic life. Petrarch's advocacy for the study of classical languages, Latin and Greek, led to a resurgence of interest in original texts. Over time, this new respect for the classics would influence artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, writers such as Dante and Boccaccio, and scientists including Galileo and Copernicus. Petrarch's sense of history was also revolutionary. He saw the passage of time not as a decline from a golden age, but as a series of cycles, each offering the potential for renewal. In his writings, he lamented what he called the Dark Ages that had followed the fall of Rome, but he also expressed hope for a brighter future. This optimism, this belief in the capacity for rebirth and progress, became a defining feature of the Renaissance worldview. One of Petrarch's most lasting legacies was his elevation of the vernacular. the everyday language spoken by ordinary people. While much of his scholarship was conducted in Latin, he chose to write his poetry in Italian, helping to establish it as a literary language. This decision would have profound implications, paving the way for later writers to express themselves in their native tongues and making literature more accessible to a wider audience. Petrarch's influence extended far beyond his own lifetime. His ideas and writings circulated throughout Europe, inspiring generations of thinkers. In Florence, the city that would become the epicenter of the Renaissance, humanist scholars built upon Petrarch's foundations, assembling libraries, translating ancient texts, and applying classical principles to art, politics, and education. Through his passionate advocacy for the study of antiquity, his exploration of the human soul, and his belief in the transformative power of knowledge, Petrarch bridged the gap between the medieval and modern worlds. He helped to inaugurate an age in which the creative and intellectual achievements of humanity would be celebrated and expanded upon. Today, when we speak of the Renaissance as a time of extraordinary cultural flourishing, we are in many ways acknowledging the seeds planted by Petrarch. His life serves as a testament to the enduring power of curiosity, the importance of preserving and studying the past, and the immense possibilities that open up when we dare to imagine a brighter future. In the end, Petrarch's legacy is not just that of a poet or a scholar, but of a visionary, a man who looked back to the ancients not to retreat from the present, but to illuminate a new path forward. Through his works and his ideals, he helped to shape the Renaissance, a period whose echoes continue to inspire the pursuit of knowledge, beauty, and human potential to this very day.